Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the AI infected idea. Now, there's two versions to this. There is the dead lobby AI infected and the AI infected at any game. So let's get on with this. So the first idea is dead lobbies AI infected. So for an example, we're going to be setting a goal or a max capacity of players to be 10. And if there's lesser people in that server that are not at least 10, then the server will start to spawn in AI infected so the player capacity can actually be 10. And these AI infected will always be, of course, infected and not humans whatsoever. Now, it's not certain if these AI infected can actually be special infected or if they could be just all basic infected all the time. All we know is that these basic infected are just going to be chasing down the humans and just scratching them and do their usual thing as basic infected. Not really too bad of a start, and actually, in my opinion, it's actually a really useful actual thing, and hopefully it does get added because I mean, what kind of what's it called? What kind of update would it not to be in there? I mean, like if you were to join a dead server and you would have AI infected, that'd be like, hey, we got more reinforcements, kinda. I mean, they do something at least, not just guaranteed, but you know, they'll do something at least. And that would actually be a pretty cool update, having AI infected to fill up the dead servers to help out the infected team to take down the survivor team still. Plus, for the survivors teams who are in dead lobbies, they can be like, oh nice, we got more infected to shoot down. Who doesn't like doing that? That's the pretty cool version in my opinion. Fill up the dead servers, adding a little bit more action, that type of stuff. The second version was basically adding infected AI, of course, to basically any public servers. Now, in my opinion, this is probably like the worst idea of all time, mainly because this will just be super broken. Because adding, for an example, let's just say, look at this picture right here. There is about a few infected in there. Add about 4-ish or 3-ish basic infected, and you got yourself more chaos because there's like juggernauts, banshees, hunters, chillers, and infernos. Adding more basic infected to hunt down the survivors will just put more and more pressure. Sure, they won't do that much apart from the fact of, you know, just chasing them down and, you know, biting their skin off for like about 8 damage per hit. They will still cause a lot more of bullshit when you're just constantly running away and they're just constantly right behind you eating your ass while you're just trying to get away, heal up, and you just have to basically throw a pipe bomb or just shoot them down so you can get rid of them. That's the are you serious? Because for an example, if there's one survivor left and there is of course all of the other players who are like 17 other players who are all infected plus the AI infected, that'll just be incredibly chaotic, and in my opinion that should not be added. I feel like the dead server one should be added mostly because if you're playing in a dead server either on console because you just got sent in there and you don't want to leave for whatever reason, then at least have AI infected to go to spawn in so you can actually have fun killing them while you just wait for people to join in. And you know, it actually be like a little bit of a warm-up, you know, not really like a hey, doesn't hurt the game. It's just like, you know, hey, let me just get some practice, or like, hey, you know, it's a little bit of pressure with all these player affected like the hunters and chillers, and with these basic infected, which don't really do much, but still they add a little bit of more of a challenge, kinda. So why not add that in? I feel like this is a much more better idea than the second version. So in my opinion, this idea of the dead server infected AI, I believe it's like a 7.5 out of 10. It's actually a really decently good idea. The only thing is that it's going to be really difficult to actually program and everything else like that, because number one, you got to have infected know where the survivors are, and of course number two, help them to navigate all around like the structures and buildings, inside of the buildings, up the ladders, everywhere else, over hills, over steps, to not get them stuck and then just let them sit there for the rest of the game, giving survivors an easy win. That's going to take a while to actually program them to get them used to their surroundings and know where to go. Secondly, I'm not too sure about the special infected idea, because if they can become, for example, a cracked Tangler who has always perfect shots, then that'll be super frustrating, because then there's nothing you can do because they have literal aimbots. And I feel like that shouldn't be a thing. I feel like just basic infected would be a thing. So in my opinion, the basic AI infected dead server idea is actually a really useful one, because I mean, like, who doesn't like going into a dead server with a bunch of other people and having to play against AI infected that, you know, you can actually get a lot of money, get able to be warmed up for the real players, and, you know, do that type of stuff. It'll actually be really fun in my opinion. So in conclusion, I would say this is actually a really neat idea for many of the reasons I just listed, for warm-ups, grinding money, and just to really get the feel of the game before all heck breaks loose, when all the really good players or just regular players just comes into the game. So realistically, hopefully this gets added in. It's a really cool idea about the dead server AI infected who just comes into the games, which are of course dead servers, and they can hopefully, you know, stir up a little bit of more action.